Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and felt disappointed? Not because of what others said, but because deep down you know you could have done more, been more, lived more. Maybe it's those nights when you scroll through your phone trying to escape the silence, that strange quiet where your mind whispers, "You're not living the life you're meant to live." You laugh, you distract yourself, but when the noise fades, that voice is still there waiting. I've worked with hundreds of people, athletes, entrepreneurs, even soldiers, and do you know what they all have in common? They're not afraid of failure, they're afraid of facing themselves. Because somewhere along the way, we all make a silent deal with weakness. We say, "It's fine, I'll start tomorrow." We convince ourselves that comfort means peace, that waiting means patience, that giving up means being realistic. But the truth is, every time you surrender to that voice, you bury a little piece of who you could have been. You trade your potential for a temporary sense of safety, and that trade will cost you everything. You see, the Stoics never believed in waiting for motivation. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations to sound wise. He wrote them because he was fighting the same demons you and I face every single day. The voice that says, "Rest a little longer. You've already done enough. You're not ready." That's the voice of your weaker self, the part of you that craves ease more than evolution. And here's the thing most people don't realize. Weakness doesn't show up as failure. It shows up as excuses that sound reasonable. It whispers you need more time. You don't have enough experience. You'll start when things calm down. But life doesn't calm down. It only gets louder. That's why Stoicism isn't a philosophy for calm days. It's a philosophy for the battlefield, the one inside your own mind. It teaches you that your comfort zone is not peace. It's a coffin, that every choice you make either strengthens your spirit or feeds your weakness. There is no middle ground. I once had a client, a young man, who wanted to rebuild his life after losing everything, his job, his relationship, his sense of self. He said to me, "I just need time to heal." And I told him, "No, you need movement. Time doesn't heal, and discipline does." Because when you sit still in your pain, you start decorating your prison cell. But when you act, when you take ownership, that's when you start building a way out. And that's what this video is about. It's not another motivational talk, it's a funeral. For your old, weak, passive self. The part of you that makes excuses, that hides behind comfort, that confuses distraction for rest. Today we're going to bury that version of you, permanently. Because inside you, there's someone else. Someone stronger, braver, sharper, a version that's been waiting for years to take over, and in this video will awaken that person. Through 10 timeless Stoic principles, each one a weapon against mediocrity, each one forged in fire by men who faced real storms and chose strength over surrender. This isn't theory, it's practice. You'll see how to fight the war between your ears, how to turn pain into power, how to stop negotiating with fear, and how to live every day like death is watching. So take a deep breath, because from this moment on, you're not here to be inspired, you're here to transform. And transformation doesn't start with comfort, it starts with confrontation. Look in the mirror one more time. The person you've been until now, they've done their job, they got you here. But from this point forward, they don't get to lead anymore. It's time to take back control. It's time to kill your weakness before it kills you. Your comfort zone is your coffin. Let's start with a truth most people avoid. Your comfort zone is not peace, it's slow death. Every time you choose the easy road, something inside you begins to rot. And it doesn't happen in one big moment, it happens in small choices. Sleeping in when you said you'd wake up early, scrolling for hours instead of creating, saying, maybe tomorrow when you know it should be today. I've seen this pattern in hundreds of people, successful ones too. They didn't fail because they weren't talented. They failed because they got comfortable. Epictetus, who was born a slave, wrote, No one can hurt you without your permission, and that includes your weaker self. Comfort is seductive. It whispers, "You've earned a break. It's not that serious. You'll do it later," but later never comes. And when it finally does, it's too late. Here's what the Stoics knew 2,000 years ago, and what modern psychology confirms: discomfort is the price of growth. Every single thing worth having, peace, strength, love, freedom, requires pain. Love demands vulnerability, success demands discipline, respect demands boundaries, and freedom demands responsibility. So when you feel discomfort, don't run. Recognize it as a sign that you're alive. The pain you feel in growth is not punishment, it's proof that you're evolving. 20 years from now, you won't regret the mornings you woke up tired but pushed anyway. You'll regret the ones you stayed in bed convincing yourself that rest was self-care. Because the discomfort of discipline weighs ounces, the discomfort of regret weighs tons. 2. The war within. There's a war happening inside your head right now. Every day, 2 voices fight for your future. One voice whispers doubt, "You're not good enough. You'll fail again. Why bother? It sounds calm, even logical. That's why it's so dangerous." The other voice, the quieter one, says, "You can do this. You've done hard things before. You were born for more." And most of the time, we ignore that voice. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he wrote to himself every night, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself." He wasn't lecturing the world. He was reminding himself of this war. He had armies at his command, but the real battle wasn't out there. It was in here. When you lose that internal war, your external life collapses, because your mind is the command center of your destiny. I had a client, a professional boxer, who told me, "My biggest opponent isn't the man in front of me, it's the voice inside that says I can't." That's when I realized it's true for all of us. The fight is never against the world, it's against our own surrender. So here's the practice. When that weak voice starts talking, don't argue. Observe. It's not your voice. It's every criticism, every doubt, every insecurity that's ever been planted in you. You've been carrying those voices like they're your identity. From now on, treat your mind like a fortress. You're the gatekeeper. If a thought weakens you, shut the door. If a thought strengthens you, invite it in. Because once you learn to master the war within, the world outside can't touch you. 3. Your excuses are death certificates. Every excuse you make is a slow funeral for your dreams. You tell yourself stories to feel better about not trying. I don't have time. I don't have resources. It's not the right moment. But all those words are tombstones marking the places where your potential died. Seneca wrote, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." While you're making excuses, someone else is making progress. While you're overthinking, someone else is acting. While you're waiting for perfect, someone else is building with imperfect tools. Here's the truth. And it hurts. Your excuses aren't even original. Millions of people have used them before to justify their surrender, and millions more will use them after you. But champions, they bury their excuses and build their possibilities. A woman I once coached told me she wanted to start a business, but it's too risky. She said, I have kids. I can't afford to fail, I asked her. What if not trying is the bigger risk? She paused. That's when the transformation began. Because fear hides behind excuses. And Stoicism teaches us, action cures fear. Not thinking about action, not planning it, taking it right now. So here's your challenge. Write down your favorite excuse, the one you use the most, then burn it. Because from this moment on, that excuse is dead to you. 4. Forge your soul in fire. The Stoics didn't run from pain, they transformed it. Marcus Aurelius lost children, faced betrayal, and ruled through plagues and wars. Yet he wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way. The weak see obstacles as reasons to quit. The strong see them as invitations to rise. You can't build strength without resistance. You can't build resilience without pressure. You can't build wisdom without pain. Every hardship you face is a forge, and you are the metal. If you resist the fire, you stay soft. If you endure it, you become unbreakable. I met a veteran once, a man who lost both legs in combat. He told me that the day I lost my legs was the day I found my purpose. He started mentoring young soldiers, showing them that the real battlefield isn't the one with bullets, it's the one inside. That's what the Stoics understood. Pain doesn't define you. Your response to it does. So the next time life tests you, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Because if you can see meaning in suffering, the suffering loses its power. Remember, diamonds are created under pressure, not in comfort. 5. Take ownership. Everything in your life, your success, your failure, your joy, your misery, is your responsibility. And that's not a burden, it's liberation. When you blame others, you hand them your power. When you take ownership, you take it back. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you that matters, but how you respond." I've met people who spend years replaying what someone did to them, parents, bosses, partners. And I always tell them, you can't start a new chapter if you keep rereading the last one. The Stoics believe that life doesn't owe you anything. The world is neutral, it's your mindset that gives meaning. Ownership means no more victim stories, no more because of them. Only because of me. It means you stop asking who's to blame and start asking, what can I do now? I had a client who blamed his company, his boss, even the economy for his lack of progress. One day he came to me frustrated and said, "Everything's against me." I told him, "Good. Now you can stop waiting for rescue and start building a plan." Within a year he started his own business, not because the world changed, but because he changed. When you own your life, no one can take it from you. When you take responsibility for your future, you stop living as a victim of your past. The weak find comfort in complaining, the strong find power in accountability. So if you're unhappy, don't explain it, fix it. If you've failed, don't defend it, learn from it. Because the moment you truly own your life, every excuse dies, and freedom begins. These are the first 5 weapons of the Stoic warrior, the principles that separate those who survive from those who thrive. They're not abstract ideas, they're daily practices, disciplines that build mental armor in a world that profits from your weakness. You've learned how to leave comfort behind, fight the war within, destroy excuses, turn pain into power, and reclaim ownership of your life. But this is only half the journey, because once you've killed the weakness inside, the next step is learning how to stay strong, how to live with purpose, courage, virtue, and unshakable discipline in a chaotic world. Take a deep breath. The war isn't over, it's just begun. Now let's move into the final 5 principles and awaken the unbreakable version of you. Now that you've taken back ownership of your life, we move to the next stage, the path of strength, clarity, and self-mastery. Because once you've killed your weakness, the question becomes, how do you stay strong in a world that keeps trying to make you soft again? These next 5 principles will answer that. 6. Master your emotions. Let me be clear, Stoicism doesn't tell you to suppress emotion. It teaches you to understand it, because emotion itself isn't the enemy. Reactivity is. You're allowed to feel anger. You're allowed to feel fear, sadness, disappointment, but you must never let those emotions make your decisions for you. I once worked with a man who had lost everything after one angry outburst, one moment where he let emotion take the wheel. He said to me, "I didn't mean it. I was just mad." And I told him, "No, you were weak." Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The world will provoke you every day. Someone will insult you. A plan will fall apart. Life will test you in ways you can't predict. But how you respond, that's your freedom. When anger rises, pause. When fear whispers, breathe. When sadness comes, observe. Because every emotion, when witnessed with awareness, loses its control. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, imagining possible misfortunes in advance, not to dwell on fear, but to be ready for it. You don't wait for chaos to practice calm, you build calm before chaos arrives. Think of a soldier. He doesn't learn to shoot when the battle starts. He trains in peace so that he can perform in war. That's how you must train your mind. When you master your emotions, you don't become emotionless, you become unshakable. 7. Live by virtue, not validation. We live in a world addicted to approval. Likes, views, followers, they've become the new currency of self-worth. But the Stoics would look at us and laugh. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." That's madness. I remember a young creator I mentored. He was brilliant, thoughtful, original, but every time his videos didn't get enough views, he'd spiral. He said, "What's the point if no one cares?" And I told him, if you're doing it for applause, you're not serving your purpose, you're serving your ego. Virtue means doing what's right even when no one notices. It means choosing integrity over image, consistency over clout, peace over popularity. Validation is fragile, it vanishes the moment people stop clapping. But virtue is eternal, says. It lives in your character, not your comment section. When you start living by virtue, life becomes quieter, and that's how you know you're finally free. Because you no longer need to perform for the world, you only need to live in alignment with your principles. The Stoics believed happiness isn't something you chase, it's what remains when your actions match your values. So ask yourself tonight, when no one's watching, are you proud of the person you're being? If the answer is yes, you've already won. 8. Cut the noise, train the mind. In today's world, silence is rare, and that's why it's sacred. We are drowning in stimulation, phones buzzing, screens glowing, information attacking us every second. And yet, despite all that noise, people say they can't hear themselves think. Of course not. You've filled your life with distractions because silence forces you to face your truth. I often tell my students, your mind is like a muscle. If you don't train focus, distraction will train you. The Stoics had a daily practice. They journaled, reflected, meditated, not to be poetic, but to declutter the mind. Marcus Aurelius didn't write meditations for an audience. He wrote it as mental training, a conversation with his higher self. We must return to that practice. Start by taking 5 minutes of silence each day. No phone, no noise, just observation. At first it will feel uncomfortable. Your thoughts will scream, but that's good. It means you're finally listening. Modern people say they want peace, but they live like addicts. Addicted to attention, to stimulation, to constant doing. But peace doesn't come from adding more, it comes from subtracting what's unnecessary. When you train your mind to be still, you regain your power. Because a distracted mind is weak, but a quiet mind is unstoppable. 9. Live like death is watching memento mori. Remember you must die. It sounds dark, but to the Stoics, it was the most liberating thought in the world. Marcus Aurelius kept that skull on his desk not to glorify death, but to remind himself to live fully. He wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. Every second that passes is one you'll never get back." And yet, how much time do we waste worrying about judgment, scrolling endlessly, postponing the life we actually want to live? I once met a man in his 70s at a philosophy seminar. He said something I'll never forget. I spent my whole life preparing to live, and then I realized life had already happened. That sentence hit me like a hammer, because most people don't fear death, they fear dying without ever having lived. When you live with awareness of death, your priorities change. Petty arguments lose power, regret becomes urgent, gratitude becomes effortless. So remember, Jeb, your time is limited, but that's what makes it meaningful. Don't wait for the perfect moment, there isn't one. The perfect moment is now. 10. Become unbreakable. This is where everything comes together, where all the battles you've fought, all the pain you've endured, all the discipline you've practiced, turn you into something unrecognizable, unbreakable. The Stoics compared life to the ocean, endless waves crashing, testing, breaking, and they said, "Be the rock." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the rocky headland on which the waves break. It stands firm, and around it the boiling waters sink to rest. That's you, or rather that's who you're becoming. The world won't get easier, the people around you won't always understand, but you'll no longer need them to, because once you've built strength from within, external chaos can't touch your internal calm." I remember a woman who came to one of my retreats. She'd lost her husband and her job in the same month. Most would have collapsed, but she didn't. She said, "I refuse to let life break me. I will bend, I will ache, but I will not break." 2 years later, she was leading a support group for widows and survivors. She turned her pain into power. That's what being unbreakable looks like. Not the absence of suffering, but the refusal to surrender. You see, the Stoic path isn't about becoming invincible, it's about becoming anti-fragile. When life hits you, you don't shatter, you sharpen. So if you're listening to this right now, understand something. The weak version of you that started this journey, they're gone. Dead, buried. The person standing in their place is stronger, calmer, wiser, a soul forged by fire and reborn in discipline. Every morning you'll face two choices: return to what's comfortable or rise to what's possible. And when you choose strength again and again, something incredible happens. You become unstoppable. These 10 principles, they're not just lessons, they're weapons, they're shields. They're the foundation of a life that doesn't collapse when chaos comes knocking. You've learned how to rise from weakness to wisdom, from comfort to courage, from fear to freedom. You've remembered what the Stoics knew all along, that you can't control the world, but you can always control yourself. And when you master that, you become untouchable, not because you never fall, but because every time you do, you rise stronger. So stand tall, warrior. You've walked through fire, now you're ready to walk through life, unbreakable. You've walked through all 10 principles, the discipline, the fire, the clarity, the silence, the self-mastery. And if you're still here, if you've made it to this moment, that means one thing: you're not running anymore. You're ready to face yourself. I know life isn't easy. I know there are days when you wake up feeling heavy, when your motivation is gone, when everything inside you wants to quit. But that's exactly where the Stoic path begins, in that quiet decision to keep going anyway. Because strength isn't built on good days, it's forged on the days you want to give up but don't. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to love, to act." And maybe that's the real point of all this. Not to chase perfection, but to remember that every day you wake up, you've been given another chance to rise. Another chance to choose discipline over comfort, meaning over distraction, peace over chaos. That's what it means to live the Stoic way. You don't have to change your entire life overnight. You just have to win the next moment, the next choice, the next breath. And if you keep doing that long enough, one day you'll wake up and realize the weak version of you is gone. I've seen this transformation with my own eyes. People who came broken, burned out, defeated, and over time they rebuilt themselves from within. Not through miracles, but through mindset. Not through luck, but through practice. That's the beauty of Stoicism. It's not about escaping pain, it's about learning how to use it. And if today you feel like you're still fighting that inner war, good. That means you're still in the game, because the only ones who lose are the ones who stop trying. So wherever you are right now, in your room, your car, maybe listening to this while you work out or walk alone, remember this: you are not powerless, you're not broken, you're becoming. The weak you has died, the strong you is alive, breathing, moving, learning, becoming unstoppable. You don't need the world's permission to rise, you already have your own. If this message spoke to you, if something inside you woke up while you listened, don't let it fade. Do something with it, take one step today that your future self will thank you for. And if this philosophy, this way of living, resonates with you, then I want to invite you to stay on this journey with us. Because Stoic Awakening More isn't just a YouTube channel, it's a community of people who refuse to live asleep. People who are building stronger minds, calmer hearts and unshakable souls. So, if you haven't already, hit the like button if this video reminded you of your strength. Subscribe to Stoic Awakening More so you never walk this path alone. Share this video with someone who's fighting their own inner war. Because sometimes one message is all it takes to change a life. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Tell me which of the 10 Stoic principles spoke to you the most. Was it courage, discipline, ownership? Your story might be the spark that helps someone else rise again. Remember, every sunrise is an invitation to begin again. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present. And if you walk this path with courage, with awareness, with strength, no storm will ever break you again. This is Stoic Awakening More, where ancient wisdom awakens modern souls. Stay grounded, stay disciplined, and I'll see you in the next video.